Hey there, restaurant recipe lovers. Welcome back to The Daily Dish, a Copycat.com podcast where I help you recreate your favorite dishes right in your own kitchen. I'm Stephanie Manley, and I've been serving up Copycat recipes since 1995. Before we dive into today's mouth-watering recipe, I want to send a special thank you to everyone who's been trying out our recipes and sharing their results online. Those photos you share on social media bring me so much joy, and I love seeing your personal twists on these Copycat creations. Remember, you can always find the complete written version of today's recipe on copycat.com with the handy link right in the show notes. And I've made sure to include all the measurements, helpful photos, and detailed instructions to include your cooking success on copycat.com. Now, today we are taking a culinary road trip to one of the most beloved institutions along the highways of Texas, and they are spreading out all over the place. Today, we are taking a culinary road trip to one of the most beloved institutions along the highways of Texas. If you've never had the pleasure of stopping by this legendary gas station, you're missing out on what might be one of the best roadside food in America, and that is their famous brisket sandwich. The first time I encountered Buc-ee's brisket sandwich, I was driving to Austin from Houston. My gas tank was running low, and frankly, so was my patience after hours behind the wheel. Almost like a mirage in a highway desert, that giant beaver sign appeared. I pulled in expecting just to refuel, but I ended up leaving with what has to be one of the greatest gas station sandwiches that was ever created. That smoky, tender brisket haunted my dreams for weeks. Now, living miles from the nearest Buc-ee's location meant I had to figure out how to recreate this legendary sandwich at home. After countless smoking sessions, spice experiments, and taste tests with my family, who were very willing participants, I might add, I finally cracked the code. The beautiful thing about making this at home is the incredible cost savings. At Buc-ee's, a brisket sandwich will set you back almost $9 right now. When you make a full brisket at home following this recipe, you're looking at about $65 to $80 for an 8 to 10 pound brisket. That will yield approximately 20 to 25 sandwiches. That brings your per sandwich cost down about $3 to $4. That's half the price of buying it out on the road. While the beaver nuggets may get all the social media attention, a true Buc-ee's connoisseur knows the brisket sandwich is a crown jewel of their food offerings. What sets it apart is the perfect balance of flavors and textures. The meat maintains just enough moisture to be succulent without becoming soggy. It's smoked low and slow for hours, creating that signature pull-apart tenderness that makes you close your eyes with each bite. And the unique spice blend creates a complex flavor profile without overwhelming the beef. Now let's talk about what makes their brisket truly special. It's not a big secret. It's an all-day cook using the low and slow method. This guarantees the meat's incredible tenderness, but what really distinguishes Buc-ee's is their spice rub blend. By blitzing the spices into a very fine powder, you wind up with a softer bark that doesn't get charred and avoids the bitter, acidic flavor that turns some people off. Although fans of traditional burnt ends might be disappointed, what you end up with is the perfect brisket specifically designed for sandwiches. For the ingredients, you're going to need to gather items for both the signature spice rub and the brisket itself. For the Buc-ee spice rub, you're going to need kosher salt, black peppercorns, onion salt, chili powder, turmeric. This is the secret ingredient that gives their brisket their golden hue. Light brown sugar to balance all the savory elements. For the brisket itself, you're going to need an 8 to 10 pound flat brisket and your favorite barbecue sauce. If you want the most authentic flavor, try to find the Buc-ee's barbecue sauce at specialty retailers or online. If that's not available, Stubbs Original works well as a substitute. One of the things I love about this recipe is how forgiving it is for home cooks. While traditional Texas brisket can be intimidating for experienced smokers, this version is much more approachable. You don't have to have a dedicated smoker. You can adapt this for a charcoal grill using the indirect heat method, or even a simplified version in your oven with a bit of liquid smoke for that smoky flavor. The process starts by preparing the spice blend. You're going to whisk those. The process starts with preparing the spice blend by whisking together those aromatic ingredients and then grinding them down with a spice grinder until everything is in a fine powder. This step is crucial. Don't skip it. When the finely ground spice, the finely The finely ground spices create that distinctive Buc-ee's texture that sets their brisket apart from typical Texas barbecue. When it comes to prepping the brisket, less is more. If the fat cap is thicker than 1/4 of an inch, trim off the excess, but don't remove it completely, as it helps protect the meat and adds the flavor. Lightly coat the brisket with about half of the prepared spice blend. One common mistake is going overboard with the seasoning. Resist that temptation. You can store the remaining spice blend in an airtight container for future use. Now comes the patient part. Smoking the brisket at 225 until it reaches an internal temperature of 200. Place it fat cap down to protect the meat from direct heat and help produce a better smoke ring. This will typically take about 1 to 1.5 hours per pound. So an 8-pound brisket can take anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. This is the perfect weekend project. After the brisket reaches temperature, the resting period is just as important as the cooking. Remove it from the smoker, place it on the cutting board, cover it with aluminum foil, and let it rest for at least an hour before cutting. This rest time allows the juices to redistribute throughout the meat, ensuring every bite is moist and flavorful. Now let's talk about 3 different ways that you can serve this brisket to recreate Buc-ee's famous offerings. The first is the classic chopped brisket sandwich. And simply rough chop a 1/2 pound of the smoked brisket into small chunks, toss it in barbecue sauce, and pile it high on a soft bun. This makes for a tender, saucy sandwich that scores high on the mess factor. Keep those napkins handy. The second option is a sliced brisket sandwich. This lets the flavor of the meat be the star. Thinly slice the brisket against the grain, slightly overlap the slices on the bottom of a fluffy bun. Just drizzle just enough barbecue sauce and top with the other bun. This is my personal favorite as it really showcases the texture for your hard work. Now for something completely different, Buc-ee's serves up a brisket and egg taco, a breakfast option that seems to be simple but delivers incredible flavor. Combine chopped brisket and scrambled eggs on a soft tortilla. While Buc-ee's serves theirs without toppings at home, you can customize it with additions like chopped tomatoes, avocado, or cheese. This is a fantastic way to use leftover brisket. Speaking of leftovers, let's talk about proper storage. If you think you'll finish the brisket within 3 days, simply wrap the room temperature meat in plastic wrap and keep it in the fridge. For longer storage, wrap the brisket in plastic and freeze it. This way you can enjoy your homemade Buc-ee's brisket sandwiches for weeks to come, and is perfect for meal prep and budget-conscious cooking. For those watching their budget, this recipe is an excellent investment. While the initial cost of a whole brisket may seem high, the yield makes it economical. Plus, by cooking it at home, you're avoiding all the extra expense of a road trip, the gas, the inevitable impulse items, the premium prices at convenience stores, and let's not forget the value of being able to customize each sandwich exactly to your family's preferences. If you're cooking for a smaller household and worried about having too much brisket, remember, this freezes beautifully in portion-sized bags. You can pull out just what you need for a quick weeknight dinner when you're too tired to cook from scratch. I like to vacuum seal the individual portions, enough for 2 sandwiches, label it clearly with the date, and this approach has saved my dinner plans countless of times on busy evenings. And for those who love to entertain, this brisket is perfect for feeding a crowd on a budget. A brisket bar with different serving options, chopped, sliced tacos along with various sauces and toppings makes for an impressive spread that won't break the bank. Your guests will never guess that you're enjoying a gas station copycat recipe. I hope this copycat Buc-ee's brisket sandwich recipe brings the taste of a Texas road trip magic to your kitchen. Remember, you can find the complete recipe with all the details on the blog at copycat.com, or you can click on the show notes for this episode. Why spend all the money on gas and travel when you can bring this roadside legend right to your own dinner table? Until next time, this is Stephanie Manley with Copycat.com, helping you bring the restaurant experience at home. Why go out when you can make it at home?